Hey guys, this is Odd1 Gaming. This is going to be another King Arthur Legends Rise video. In today's video, I'm gonna show you my first ever favorite dungeon team on stage 10. Right, so I've been pushing the favorite dungeons. I already released a video for every single one of these ones, fighting and beating stage 7, which is the first one that actually gives you, right, if you're gonna have a look. Stage 7 is the first one that starts giving you the legendary statues, and those are kind of like the important ones. So if you want to check those, go check out my channel. I have, like I said, a video for all of these with pretty much relatable, easy to obtain heroes, considering the fact that I'm fully free to play. You know, it's obviously most of the stuff that I showed was using fully free to play heroes. Now when it comes to this one that I'm going to show you today, stage 10, that's going to be the Crow's favorite dungeon. This one is not going to be, I guess, so easy to do, right? It's still a free to play team because, well, my account's fully free to play, just got lucky on summons, right? But I cannot call it a free to play because well, I'm using two legendaries that I summoned. So the team that I'm using for Crow 10 is gonna be like this: Bedivere, Gillian, Rosier, and then Beborne. Honestly, Beborne not really needed in here. Maybe I could drop him for somebody else to make it a little bit easier, but I just put him in there because he was one of the ones that had 6-star with some levels in the relics, and I pretty much went away and did it. So when it comes to lead, honestly, I just kept Bedivere, but I guess I could go with Gillian as well because the survivability might be an issue, but I guess I'm just gonna keep it with Bedivere and just show you how it goes. Now it's not as easy, right? It's a little bit tricky because the boss hits so hard that it can be problematic. Now one thing that I do want to do is try to make sure that I kill the one on the left first, because that's the one that does a ton of damage for us, and obviously you want to try and go to the boss part with, if you can, 100% HP, right? The goal is to try and have as much HP as possible when you get to the boss side, because that boss, like I mentioned, hits so hard that, you know, if he gets a few hits onto you, you're pretty much done. And the reason why that is a massive issue is because the boss also has a passive that says every time he kills somebody, he gains 50% attack gauge. And, well, he already has pretty high attack speed. He already goes pretty often, so trying to, you know, not die is a bit problematic. And it does have a little bit of RNG, however, it works pretty fine. Now, one thing I don't understand is why the stun, that if it lands on Gillian, it never gets cleansed by Gillian. That's one thing that I cannot understand, but I guess if that happens, that's not necessarily an issue. The issue is, again, if the boss gets several turns, several hits in a row, then that becomes problematic because, again, if he kills somebody, well, he just keeps snowballing, right? He kills one and he kills the next one, the next one. If that happens, that's good because Gillian's passive cleanses it. And now, honestly, I should be good, right? I should have so much damage from Rosier and then from Bedivere that the boss should just pretty much be dead. There we go, right? So again, it's not necessarily 100% successful, but because we use so much of the stamina in order to do this, you don't have an issue, right? You do 3 rounds at a time, it uses 54, the cap is 250 for me for now. So for example, if it fails once, you just go in again. And also considering the fact that it's only 1 minute and 15 seconds, I don't mind if it fails from time to time. Plus, do keep in mind that once you get to the point where you pretty much farmed everything that you need, right? You have all of your people awakened, there's not going to be any reasons to farm the stage anymore. Now, let me show you the builds that I have on these people. So I guess let's start with Bedivere, level 60, 6-star awakened. I do have his first 2 passives skilled up, and I managed to pull several copies of him, and I have him C3. Honestly, you don't really need C3. C2 is the one that's like pretty nice because he gives him that pierce increase, but at the same time, you might not even need these 2 either. As long as he hits hard enough, you should be just fine. Then if you look at the equipment, he's running a counter set, an attack set, and then when it comes to the keepsake, he's running the strife. Now when it comes to the hit accuracy, I do have a hit accuracy on the orb because I really want that, and I think that's about it. Everything else is like attack or crit rate. Total stats that he has: 4.5k attack, 158 attack speed, 56% crit rate, and 64% crit damage. Normally you want for Bedivere around 50 to 60 crit rate, maybe even 40. It works pretty okay because if you do have some counter and he counterattacks with the first skill, he has a chance to put critical strike increase 2 all himself. This one, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is 40%, so if you have around 60, you should be fine. The goal for Bedivere is obviously to crit as much as possible. Now, the relic that I'm using is the Frost one. Obviously, this is the best one for the sake of the damage that he does, but it's also good for the boss part because the boss is flame, so because he is Frost, he does more damage and takes less damage. So obviously, you're gonna go with this one. I do have a few skill ups in him. I never use the third skill, I just use the second and the first one, and that's pretty good to go. Now the next one that I'm using in the team, oh yeah, let me just go in there and show you the skill order just so you see how I'm doing this. Let me just collect this, go in there, because when it comes to the skill order based on the what's it called, the builds that I'm going to show you, this kind of matters so that you have enough vigor to cast your hits at the right time. So Rosier, first priority, third skill, second priority, the first skill. Beborne or Beborne, however you call it, however you would say his name, he only does the first skill. You just want him to generate vigor, plus he has a chance on the passive to put recovery over time on your team. Then Gillian uses the second skill. I don't even need this. You want to use this one because this is the one that heals and has a chance to put the attack gauge back. And then Bedivere, second and first skill only. This is straight up what you want to do. Now let's go and continue looking at the builds. Okay, I have to exit. Come on, let's go. So obviously the carries of this team are Bedivere and Gillian. When it comes to Gillian, I almost have her fully skilled up. She has some amazing passives. This one has a chance to push attack gauge, right, for 2 targets, which is amazing. And then this one has a chance to boost the attack gauge of your people when they receive a healing. Now, this one says after healing an ally. It doesn't really work like that. Honestly, from what I tested in other areas, whenever an ally gets healed, not necessarily by her, this passive can proc. Now, my goal is going to be to get her C3 because that's going to proc twice. It's going to be so amazing that, well, especially after I do this as well, she's pretty much going to have a chance to boost 4 people 30% attack gauge, right? So this is going to be amazing. Chivalry, you saw there's nothing on her. When it comes to equipment, she's running Vigor, Accuracy, and Keepsake and Immortal. Total stats for her, 24k HP, 192 speed, and then 94% effect accuracy. This one might be a little bit overkill because, well, I have effect accuracy over here with the accuracy set plus effect accuracy over here, so, you know, she has quite a ton of things. I think the goal would be to try and get recovery on this one. I'm not 100% sure if this one can get recovery. Let me double check, but that would be the goal. No, I don't think there's recovery, so I think what I'm going to try and get is HP percent with some effect accuracy, because if we take 26% out of this one, she's still gonna be around 70. That should be just fine. Now her relic is the flame one, 6-star level 40. No skill ups in this one because I don't really care about skill ups, honestly. Maybe this one I would like to get the chance to be higher, but for now she's okay just like that. Okay, the next one is going to be Beborne. Like I mentioned, he's just in there to do the first skill and have a chance to do this, right? 60% trigger chance to trigger upon using skill. Pretty much has a chance to give recovery over time to 3 allies, right? So this can help heal a bit, but the problem is he also puts mark, right? He can also put mark, so it's a bit tricky. Equipment that he's running Vigor, pretty much leftover gear. That's all I gave him. Leftover gear, you see I didn't even level this up. Attack speed on this, just so he's running pretty fast. He's kind of squishy, but he's just an extra one in there. He's not needed for the team. You can use anybody else. And then when it comes to relics, I chose to get the flame one, level 50, 5-star, and that's about it. No skill ups in this. It's, you know, he's just +1. He's just a +1 in this team. And then I'm using Rosier. She's level 58, 6-star, obviously, 4-star awaken. Her passes are max because, well, I had a lot from farming Master of Death, so she's just had some skill ups there. Then she is Chivalry 2. I would obviously love to get her Chivalry 8 if I can, but eventually I'll get there. When it comes to her equipment, she's running attack and accuracy because I want a little bit of a chance to land some of those bleeds. It's pretty low, but it is what it is. It works for now. Total stats that she has 2k attacks, 173 attack speed, some crit rate, some crit damage, you know, a little bit of everything. She kind of had some leftover gear, right? She doesn't have ideal gear. Attack speed here, crit rate over here, attack percent over here, and then, you know, crit rate, effect, a little bit of everything, right? It's decent gear, but it's not ideal. You can see even this one's flat defense, and then when it comes to the orb, hit accuracy. So this can be better. I could either focus on full on raw damage because, well, I'm using it in the flame relic. This is on the hits the hardest. It can do, as you can see, 355% attack. That's massive. Plus he also has a chance to land those bleeds, so you know, it's a pretty strong hitting kit. So even if you don't want her to use bleed and just ignore the effect accuracy for the sake of just doing raw damage, you can go full damage on her, ignore effect accuracy, and she would still be amazing. But yeah, that pretty much is my team for Crow Favor Stage 10. Again, it's not necessarily 100%, but for how often I actually farm this works for me. It works, right? It's kind of like most of the time it does fine. I just have to go click the one on the left, and then from there pray to RNGesus and don't get really bad luck. But yeah, I guess we're gonna leave it for at this for today, guys. Thank you all for watching. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, run. Bye, guys.
Fight with honor. Vanquish the wicked, and you may prove worthy of your legacy.